When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. Septum Sin versus the world. 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 I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings, all you faithful viewers, and welcome to another episode of the Vlogcast.
Woohoo!
As we discover the dark world of entertainment for your entertainment, whether we like it or not.
Indeed.
So, of course, this is our second week in doing our new lineup as far as things go. We can start that with Inside Movies Galore, which, of course, this week was Your Name, but by this point, neither one of us has rewatched it for that particular episode. But we did watch Summer Wars for last week.
Yes, indeed. And we had I think, a pretty good discussion. We actually got Dustin in on it, which is cool.
Yeah, it was, for somebody who was not very high on anime, he seemed to like it pretty well.
Yeah. Summer Wars does have some good shonen elements to it,
Yeah.
even though it is a deeper film than some of those are. So that was good. As far as Your Name, I'll go ahead and mention, because it's related, I did manage over the weekend to read the first of, I'm not sure how many volumes, but I did read a volume of a related manga. There is a manga, what would you call it, a mangatization of the movie, which I have not read, but there's a related one called Your Name, Another Side, Earthbound, which focuses on the side stories, if you will, where the body swap storyline, the effect that it has on the friends, as well as some of the, shall we say, deleted scenes. It was an interesting little read. So that helped improve somewhat my depth of the story, if you will. Yeah.
Well then, let's go to In the Theaters, where we discuss what we've seen in theaters.
Yeah, right.
So you've seen as much as I have.
Exactly.
Well, I saw a theater as I drove by once. I was in Salem, Virginia. I was actually in Salem, Virginia this weekend.
You were?
Yes, I was visiting a relative in the hospital.
I need to get back to Salem.
And I got to go by the old alma mater, and also got to run by the movie theater that we had gone to back in the day. The same theater I saw Dogma from way back.
The Carmike one on...
It's like the 8 one, the 8 picture one.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's where I saw Dogma.
I might have seen it in the same showing, for all I know.
I don't think so. I think I went
Because
with Joel and them.
it was Dogma versus Runaway Bride. And all the girls wanted to see Runaway Bride, and most of the guys wanted to see Dogma.
Right.
I think we got the better deal.
Probably.
According to the girls, we also got the better deal as well. Alright, so let's get to First Impressions, the part of the episode where we talk about things that we have started up and our first impressions.
Okay. So you're handing it to me. Okay. Well, I think with the... I had not started the second half of Naruto last week, had I?
You had ended the manga at where Shippuden was.
Yeah, so I had not started Shippuden.
No, you got
So I have started Shippuden, the manga. And today I read through... I'm at the part where Naruto and Sakura and the dude who's the kind of sort of clone of First Hokage have just faced off against Orochimaru and Kabuto. And it's off to a pretty interesting start so far.
He gets into this wild mode at that point.
Oh yeah, he does. He does. That's like the Fortail mode was like. I was kind of amused when Jiraiya said, "I've looked at death's door twice in my life. The first time was when I was doing research and Tsunade caught me." The second time was, but yeah. So that was fun. That was a good one to get started on. And well, as far as starting stuff, I think that's the only one this week.
I started a video game.
Oh,
Grandia, which came from the Grandia collection that released this week. And it has 1 and 2, so it's not much of a collection considering how many games were in the series. And I really liked the first one, and the reason why I liked it so much is it was one of the few games that the main character, the only purpose really that the main character has at the beginning is going on an adventure for the sake of being on an adventure, and that was just so refreshing. It gets kind of by the numbers RPG in the second half. But still, good one. I'm kind of lost with the 3D rendered ones. This is really in the early days. This is PlayStation 1. And so I'm a little bit lost in the big towns and stuff like that. I wish I could zoom out more. Or that they had a mini-map. But I think I'll get used to it as time goes on.
good times.
So, I guess let's go to ongoing.
Okay.
The things that you have ongoing.
Well, I guess it's me again. I'm still working on Supergirl. And, okay, I think it was you. I know someone has, a couple people have scoffed when I said that, that Max Lord is Lex Luthor. But come on, the Bizarro episode. The Bizarro episode, it definitely makes him a Lex Luthor surrogate. There's no question. They even called it Bizarro. But, so that was interesting. More on Dreamland. Unfortunately, I've been very slow going with that because I'm narcoleptic much of the time, and I keep falling asleep when I try to read it. It's very intriguing, but you know.
Put you in Dreamland.
Exactly. But one other I'm going to throw out there, I managed after probably a 2-month hiatus, probably 2 months, I saw another episode of Columbo.
All right.
And the third episode is called Murder by the Book. Is actually directed by Steven Spielberg, of all people. And I was like, oh, isn't that cool? It's always fun seeing these, like, big names directing television, you know. This is, like, early in his career, though.
Every episode was a mini-movie.
Yeah, I know. Mini nothing. They're full-length movies.
That's why that collection is going to be a long haul when I finally get into it.
It's going to be a long haul.
Because I like to binge a series when I get into it, and it's going to reflect when we get into our next section. Are we ready to move on to the mini reviews?
Move on.
I guess I will start. I finished off with my wife. We finished off something I had talked about starting, which was that Nightmare on Elm Street collection with New Nightmare.
You made good time on that.
And New Nightmare is when I can get my wife on board, it really does move quickly. And New Nightmare was kind of a reimagining of Freddy existing in the real world that produces him. You know, you get Robert Englund playing himself and Freddy, and you get the final girl from the first movie as well. They even thought about inviting Johnny Depp to it, but he was kind of afraid to do so. I think I've told this story before, where Johnny Depp had later said, I wish he had asked me. I would have loved to have gone on there. So that's kind of cool. So, you have some stuff that you've completed?
Oh, yeah.
I've got a couple more, but I figure we'll go back and forth.
Well, one thing I read that was very interesting read, and it was kind of out of nowhere, was a graphic novel collection called No Way Home. It was an Avengers story arc that was very intriguing because basically Nyx, the Greco-Roman goddess of the night, came back after being banished for some time by Jupiter and or Zeus or whatever they called him in this one. I can't remember. And she was displeased.
Yeah, well.
And she butchered basically all of Olympus. She butchered them all and stole light from the entire universe. And so it was left to a handful of people. The daughter of the games master, whose name I don't remember, Scarlet Witch, Hercules, Hawkeye, Hulk, Rocket, totally random group of people here, ended up going up against this goddess. And in the at one point, Scarlet Witch gets banished to another world, which happens to be the world of Conan the Barbarian. They actually used this as an opportunity to bring Conan into the mainstream Marvel universe, which was a very interesting twist there. It was an interesting read. It was very dark, but it was pretty interesting, and I enjoyed that one.
Well, I got off the beaten path when I've been trying to get through this NIS stuff. I went off the beaten path watching Love Live Sunshine seasons 1 and 2.
Cool.
And this one kind of is like the first season. First series. The same concept of trying to save a school, getting together in a different school, except they're inspired. It takes place in the aftermath of the original Love Live. So now you've got tons of school idols trying to compete at Love Live, which is going strong. It's no longer just being formed like it was in the original Love Live.
Right.
And each of the girls has their unique personality, much like the original. There's something missing. There are a few things that kind of differentiate itself. One that they're working under and established, so it's actually even harder for them. And they have to deal with things in a slightly different way. And they face challenges, and the results are not exactly what you would think. But at the same time, I feel like it was lacking something. That it was a bit too fluffy as opposed to the original. I feel like
the
there's something.
original was pretty fluffy.
Yeah, I know. And like I say, it's just there's something lacking, and I don't know what it is. Can't put my finger on it.
Well, when a series is subtitled Sunshine, you probably expect it's going to be pretty fluffy.
And I think a lot of it's more about where they are, because they're in a school near the ocean, so it's kind of cool there.
Ooh, maybe you should bring that for us to watch.
Kim would kill me.
Did she watch any of this series?
No, I think it would be too happy for her.
Okay, well, anyway.
High School Musical on the ocean.
Well, I know she'd watch High School Musical 4. Jason Goes to Town. So, at any rate, one that I forgot with my ongoing, I'll go ahead and mention, I did read more Spider-Gwen. I read some of the, they have this, it's gotten dark. They have this weird little plot line where she basically turned into, they're calling it Gwenum. But it was interesting, and I'm still liking seeing the alternate reality ones. Actually, now that I think, I might have mentioned that. I don't know if I mentioned that last week. Whatever. But if you wanted to jump into another review, you can.
Well, I got two more things, and so the NIS has kind of been inspiring myself with how the list might go. And I thought about after each one, we talk about how we would look at it, and then analyze that, compare it to the Anime News Network ratings, and then tell ourselves, was it that they just didn't put out enough big hits? And I thought about the ratings and just kind of combining them like two at a time. Like, really awesome, which would be masterpiece and excellent combined. Good, which would be very good and good combined. Meh, which is decent and so-so combined. And bad, which are the two bad ones. So...
awful and worst ever?
Yes. So, and... whereas Love Live was definitely good. I think it was solid good for me. The next one was almost awesome. There were a couple of things that did not quite meet it for me. And that is My Little Monster.
Oh, I need to see that one.
My Little Monster is a series about this girl who studies all the time. And pretty much is cold as hell to everyone around. Until she meets this very strange feral guy. He really does come across as feral. And they somehow form a romantic relationship together. And get some friendship with several other slightly broken individuals. And there is something about these slices of life romantic comedies that kind of star people who are kind of broken and use each other in order to heal themselves, to become whole. That really pulls at me and it really intrigues me. The thing that keeps this from being awesome, because it has an excellent soundtrack, really love the opener, and really good characterization and story and writing. But there are a couple of things that pull it down for me. One, the guy, he routinely hits her by accident, but he hits her, like full-on punches her in the face. And I guess it's for comedic things, but he doesn't even apologize for doing it. And that just, I can't sit with that. I can't fully like a character who hits women without thinking like that. You may not be an all-out wife beater because you didn't intend to hit her, but you didn't apologize. That means you don't regret hitting her either. So I don't like that. And two, it just kind of ends on an abrupt note. So it tells you, okay, there's obviously more. Now I have to dig in the manga.
I have the first volume of the manga, but it's just the first volume.
So, I'm very curious as to where it goes, how it develops. I'm not worried about the will they, won't they, because I know that they will, because they already established that. At pretty much the very beginning. It's just, I want more, and I want like a concrete resolution.
So it sounds like basically you got a series that's somewhere shades of Toradora and Kimi ni Todoke, with an ending somewhere between the annoyance level of Toradora and Umineko.
Yeah, I would say, I would put it in, if I was to rate it with the Anime News Network stuff, it would probably be very good, so it would be on the very good end of good. But those things keep it from being in the Masterpiece Excellent.
That one is high on my to-watch list. We'll get there.
But I only have one more left. Do you have anything else before
I do have.
All right.
I have some good ones, actually. I actually had two of this year's movie releases that I watched a couple days back to back, which is rare for me. And I made some reference to them in some of our earlier videos. One of them was, they're both remakes by big-name directors who are well-known for their visions, but whose vision was clouded by the even bigger name on the marquee for these films. And one was the new Tim Burton film, Disney's remake of Dumbo, which was a Tim Burton film, but it was less Tim Burton-y than it might have been. It actually was. This struck me as, of all the films Disney was going to remake, this fell into the Y category. And I really was not sold on it right up until I watched it. It is a good film. It is not Tim Burton's best. It is not his worst. Michael Keaton does completely chew the scenery as the villain in the film. He basically, if they had given him a twirling mustache, it would have made perfect sense. I could see CinemaSins saying that they needed to give him an apple in every scene to make him even more of an asshole. But he does a good job with what he's given, but I feel like they really played that up too much. You got good performances by Colin Farrell and Eva Green, a great performance by Danny DeVito, actually. It's a fun take. It's much more human-centric. They did not focus on the animals as much, even though the film's about Dumbo. It's more centered on the humans than the animals. Like the original film, of course, was so the viewpoint was totally different. So it actually does stand on its own a little more than some of these remakes do. it's worth a watch. I'm still not sold that Disney had to make this particular remake or that they have to keep remaking all of these films. But it actually, I honestly think it earned its place a little better than Lion King did.
Well, at least it tries to be different.
Yeah.
And they probably took out a lot of the racism, which would be stupid if they left it in.
Well, they toned down the racism considerably. There was
that wouldn't be hard.
It wouldn't be hard, no. And taking away from the animals was a big step in that direction because they were some of the animals
were
crows.
Yes, in particular.
Yes, that was a bad call on Disney's part there. But good call to get rid of it this time around.
So, I did beat some games over the weekend. I have been working on the Mega Man Collection, Legacy Collection 1 for a while, and I re-beat Mega Man 1, and I had to tell myself, without that rewind feature, I don't know how I had the patience to have beaten it under normal circumstances, because you got to relearn a lot of these boss moves and stuff like that. And then I went straight into Mega Man 2 and beat it in one setting, and like, okay, 1, incredibly difficult, like balls to the wall difficult. 2, I blew through it without dying once. I guess it's because I was so seasoned already from beating that first one that I was able to just go right through it.
So that sounds a little bit like the programmers hearing all this feedback from the first one. Like, what? You think it's hard? You don't like it's a challenge? Oh, screw you! We'll just make this one easy.
Well, 2 was my favorite of the series, and it still is my favorite. I have beaten all 8 of the original Mega Mans in the previous collection that they released for GameCube, but I'm going through them again, and then I'm going to try and beat the 9th, 10th, and 11th installment that were on Collection 2, because I've never played any of those. And then maybe launch into the X ones, because I've only beaten one of the Mega Man X games. So I am curious.
You got a lot more done than I have. I never played much Mega Man when I was a kid.
It's a tough series. But enjoyable, nevertheless.
Yes.
It will be interesting when I get to 3, because I had always thought 3 was really simple compared to the first one. Compared to the second one, which I told you how easy that one was for me, so I wonder how the third one's going to rank.
Right. So, my next one, which I believe is my last one, if I think of any more while I'm talking about it, I'll mention it. But, another one that is a remake, again, in this case, it was a remake of a manga series and a short anime series, OVA series, if I remember correctly, but I've never seen it, so I don't remember. James Cameron tried for many, many, many years to make Alita into a movie. Before, for whatever reason, I think because he's still got this obsession with the Avatar series, stepped back and handed off the reins, in this case, to Robert Rodriguez. And this spring saw the release of Alita Battle Angel, which I'm still kind of peeved that I didn't get to go see it in theaters when I even got that discounted tickets lined up. And now that I've seen it, I'm even more so, because it is a visually stunning film. It really is. This is a movie that needs to be a shoo-in for visual effects this year's, at least a nomination for visual effects and probably sound and all that stuff. But Alita is the basic gist of it. You guys set in a very far future setting. After what they call the fall, this big war, and this you've got this world above, if you will, a floating city, and then you have the city below it. And I can't remember what they called the floating city, but Iron City is the one below.
Yeah.
And Iron City is all a bunch of well, they're definitely the lower class, but it's basically thieves, bandits, ordinary people, doctors, bounty hunters, all this kind of stuff thrown in together. And Christoph Waltz plays a cybernetics expert and a doctor who basically he is basically the town doctor, but he also does people's cyborg enhancements and that sort of thing. Zalem, yes. So you have the actual series, yeah. I need to see that one of these days. Yeah. Zalem, yes.
Did they have Christoph Waltz use the giant hammer with the rocket power?
Yes.
Okay.
So Waltz is in the early part of the film, he's walking through a scrap heap, and he finds this torso, head and upper torso of an android that looks very human, and he takes her back to his place, and he outfits her with an entire body, and she wakes up, and she's, this girl, and he names her Alita, and at first she is completely amnesiac, has no idea what's up, and she's learning everything new from the beginning. She meets this boy named Hugo, who's very nice to her, and they get on great from the beginning. And she meets certain other people. She meets the doctor's ex-wife, who's played by Jennifer Connelly, and she vaguely comes into contact with this guy who is played by Mahershala Ali, who is sort of Hugo's boss and seems to have a connection to the wife and whatnot. And he seems to be the guy that people go to for assistance. And the doctor is also a hunter warrior, I think is what they call him, and that's where the hammer comes into play. He's secretly a bounty hunter at night. And she one night suspects that maybe he's the guy killing and cutting up women, and follows him and finds out that he's this bounty hunter, and it goes into battle and ends up kicking ass and taking names. And she, you come to find out she's got a little more to her background, The film also features Ed Skrein, who I should have recognized immediately. He was just as big an asshole as he was in Deadpool. Jackie Earle Haley and some other good folks. And it's a well-done film. I'm a big fan of Rodriguez. It's hard to say if Rodriguez or Cameron had a bigger impact on the finished product. It really is hard to say. Which is probably a good thing, because I guess they worked well together. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot, and I really wish I had seen it at the theaters. But but it definitely, the way it ends, I'm not going to say what happens, but the way it ends, they clearly are hoping for a sequel. But unfortunately, it did not make enough money. I don't know that it'll get a sequel.
So it ends sort of like... Actually, the story pretty much ends where the OVA ended, so that makes sense.
Well, the story ends at a good stopping point, but it really leaves a major thing hanging overhead. Literally. So, yeah. Did you have any more? Or,
any other
I'm trying to remember if I had anything else. I don't.
Well, I have one news item.
So, okay.
Of course, normally this is your spiel, but I thought I would bring this up. Peter Fonda died at age 79.
Yeah.
And, of course, best known for Easy Rider, but also many other things. And that's kind of a big loss, really, for the entertainment industry. 79 is not that old when you're rich. So,
Well, that's one way to put it.
So it just kind of shocked me to see he had died, but it is, of course, then again, could have been one of the same things, like he was alive.
Well, the weird thing is, the Fondas, of course, are Hollywood royalty, and everyone, And but the weird thing is, both Peter and his sister Jane have had long absences from movies. And for many years, Peter Fonda was in mostly lackluster. You know, when I heard the news, I immediately checked the shelves to see if there were anything in the library I could put up in honor of him. The only film I had seen that I could find on the shelf was the other Rider movie he did, which was Ghost Rider. So, you know, of all the ones to put up, but he also he had a very impressive role in Steven Soderbergh's The Limey, and he's had some other good stuff over the years. And of course, you know, this guy, you know, he's again the son of Henry Fonda, brother to Jane Fonda. His daughter is Bridget Fonda. I mean, you know, there's a really big family of actors, and he was also a big fan. He was a big fan of bikes and biking, and you know, Easy Rider wasn't a fluke. He became a very renowned in that arena as well. So, yeah, that was a big loss. And then the same day they announced that the lead animator on Who Framed Roger Rabbit passed.
Yeah, I know.
There were a couple of big ones this week, but as far as other news, I know I saw a couple things, but that was really the big one.
Netflix is going to be doing some major stuff soon.
Yeah.
Dark Crystal premieres soon. Also, something cool is we found out that the his Dark Materials trilogy is starting to move forward. It's going to be a new start again. I think it's a TV series now.
Right.
And even cooler is they have started revealing the Wheel of Time cast. Which I have been very much interested in getting that. I'm trying to look them up. Let's see here. Casting. Yes, there we go. Rosamund Pike is in it. So let me see. Let's see. This is going to be an Amazon one, so this is one of those things where, unfortunately, streaming is going to be a must, because you've got stuff on Netflix, you got stuff on Hulu coming, you got stuff on that, and then, of course, they've got that Disney Plus bundle, where you can get Disney Plus and Hulu and ESPN.
Well, here's another big streaming one. I'm just seeing this. Kevin Smith is doing an animated He-Man for Netflix.
Yes, he's producing.
Yeah. Masters of the Universe Revelation. Isn't that something?
The ones that they have for the Wheel of Time cast so far, Randall Thor is going to be played by Jossa Stardowski. Never heard of him. Perrin by Marcus Rutherford. Nynaeve by Zoe Robbins. Let's see here. Moraine by Rosamund Pike. Egwene by Madeline Madden. And Matt by Barney Harris. That's going to be interesting with the casting. You've got actually a very diverse cast here. You got some people of color, and you got people not of color, and it will be interesting when you see some of the interesting mix that we have here. I am very curious as to how they play it out. I am. So we shall see. I've been looking forward to a Wheel of Time series for a long time, and that's just huge for me.
Okay.
But I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I really wanted to throw out.
Animego did a Kickstarter that reached its goal in a day for Megazone 23 Blu-ray. That's kind of cool. Animego's still occasionally active. Yeah. I still haven't fully figured out their business plan.
I don't think they have one.
I don't know.
But, either case, it is going to be interesting as time goes on.
Right.
Well,
I'm trying to figure. I feel like there was something I saw on A&N that was newsworthy, but I'm not figuring out what it was. Do you remember?
I just feel a lot of our stuff that's coming is coming in the future, and of course, if you haven't been, you should probably be getting to theaters to see all of these awesome things coming from the what was it? Coming to theaters. Millennium Actress, for instance, is going to be in theaters up through. Well, it's
Is it?
done.
I thought it was done.
Yeah, it was done yesterday. It was done today.
Yeah, well, I only had a couple showings, but
But
yeah.
still, keep an eye out because
Yeah.
we've had some cool ones. Kiki's was on there.
Millennium Actress is an excellent.
So just things that need to be there, and I'm kind of I'm fine with that because maybe it'll get another release. There's also going to be a Resident Evil series coming to Netflix. So, and they're doing a movie reboot for Resident Evil as well. They're trying to return. They're trying to get away from the action and move it into the horror genre, which it kind of strayed off that beaten path.
Right.
Though they are a guilty pleasure of mine.
There was a couple of additional bits of news in the unfolding saga with Kyoto Animation. They went ahead and decided to suspend their annual awards because obviously they've got other things going on. But they were able to recover a good amount of the artwork that was luckily not lost in the fire, and they did an exhibition of that, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But
There's actually a chance that the guy might actually be found not guilty due to insanity. So,
now let's hope that they throw the book at him.
well, I mean, if he is truly mentally ill, then he needs to get some treatment.
Well, yeah, but
But courts will decide. They're much harsher over there than they are over here. So, we will then see you on the next one. It was a short one this week.
it was indeed.
Well, that kind of works to our advantage. Well, I hope you all have enjoyed this, and we will see you next month in September. As we go on vacation in September.
Ooh.
Yep. All right, we will see you later.
Right.
Goodbye.